Hey everybody, we just got off our first Princess cruise. We sailed on the Caribbean Princess. And so in this video, I'm gonna share everything we liked and what we didn't. Everyone compares this cruise line to Celebrity. So I'm also gonna let you know, do I think it's the same? Do I think it's an even tier or not? And I'll be honest, I'll tell you in advance, we do have very mixed feelings about this. I'm on my way now. Okay, so first let's start with the room. We really liked the way the room was laid out. Maybe it's because the couch was missing. I realized that later when there's not a couch, you seem to have more space to move around. But additionally, I loved the closet area. There was a separate place to put everything in your closet and your shelves, so you didn't have to slide past the bed. It wasn't difficult to get to. But something else I thought of, if you're cruising with a friend, a buddy, like not a spouse, it was nice because it's literally a separate changing area. So you don't have to go in the bathroom or like take turns being in the room. And I thought that was really nice. It allowed us to stay really organized, spread out our clothes, which is typically really rare in a cruise cabin, and we didn't feel like any space was taken away inside the cabin itself. Okay, next, since we're talking about the room, I just want to say room service was great. We don't normally take advantage of room service just because we don't like to be in our room too much, but for our kids who had a room across the hall, we ordered breakfast every day for them. It's mostly continental items that are included, but you can also get, it was like an egg muffin sandwich that was very good. And I also like that it was on time every day. So when you scheduled your time between say 6 and 7, it would always be there at like 6:05, 6:10. It was great. So if you were planning a port day and you knew you wanted to eat before you got off, if you scheduled your time, you knew you could count on them showing up with it. Okay, next I want to talk about the pools. Pools are kind of a thing when it comes to cruise ships. The newer, bigger ships seem to be shrinking their pools, having less of them, or smaller ones. But this ship in particular was kind of crazy. It had several pools, and all the pools were a decent size. Aside from the actual size of the pool, there was tons of lounging space throughout the entire ship. Everywhere you walked around the pool area, there were loungers. So there were quieter places you could find if you didn't want the music at the pool. There was a pool that had movies under the stars, so you could watch movies during the day and in the afternoon if that was the kind of atmosphere you were looking for. And there was even a pool on the aft of the ship with the most amazing views. Okay, bars, that's another hot spot for cruisers because sometimes on port days, many of the bars can be closed and it can be hard to get service. And some cruisers say in reviews that there's just not enough bars for the amount of people on the ship. Well, we did not find that that was an issue on this ship. On port days, it seemed like several bars were open indoors and outdoors. I don't think we ever waited long for a drink. It was nice. The staff was really focused on making sure that everyone was in line and everyone went in order, because that's another hot spot with cruisers is people kind of pushing their way through, skipping, or the bartenders not noticing necessarily who's next, leaving some people to wait a long period of time to get served. On the Caribbean Princess, we found bar service extremely efficient. Also, since I am talking about bar service, I want to say overall the staff was very friendly. Everything from our room steward to restaurant, bar staff, everywhere. We thought that they were very friendly and we really appreciated that extra level of service and kindness. Okay, so at first I had on my list main dining room food and lighting, and I think I put it on my list on day 1 when we had an amazing meal, and then it kind of changed throughout the rest of the cruise. Subscribe to the channel so you see when I launch my full review of all the food that we had on the Caribbean Princess. I do want to note that we just love the lighting in the dining room. Certain cruise lines now are using extremely bright, not calming lighting in their dining room, and it's just not as enjoyable and relaxing as it is when you have dimmed, relaxing lighting. So this ship had the lighting down, and what's nice about that, especially we were with our family, our 2 kids came on this cruise, and so we dined together every night. And sometimes, as we know, main dining rooms can get behind with service. It can take a little bit longer than usual, and we did not mind or notice at all when we were conversating and hanging out, and I think the lighting really helps. Okay, now getting a little deeper into service. These 2 things were amazing as far as I'm concerned. Number 1 is guest services. Any and every time we've had to go to guest services, there was nobody in line. We walked right up. So that's a good sign, because that means that they're not dealing with too many issues. I've been on cruise ships where guest services line is like wrapped around and you're like, why are so many people having issues? That's not a good sign. We had the premium desserts included with our Princess Plus package, but when we would go to get these desserts, the charge would show up on our account. And when I walked up and I said I had these 2 charges on my account, he knew right away by the price. He goes, those are the ice creams. Sometimes the package doesn't capture it. I'll take it right off. Boom, deleted. That was it. We were done. It happened a few times. We did have to go back several times, so we wondered if that happened to other people, and hopefully they were watching their onboard accounts and noticing that they were so efficient. And anytime we walked up and needed help with anything, they solved it so fast. Matter of fact, I have kind of a really bad story that I think I'm gonna do a video on. It's not this cruise line, but it's one we went on recently. But I think I'm gonna have to talk about that one, because that was the exact opposite experience. Also, when it came to service, so we had Princess Plus, our kids were in a separate room, they did not. You receive 2 casual dining meals. You can either dine at Steamers, the seafood restaurant, or Planks, the barbecue restaurant, and we could go twice. And we thought, well, instead of going twice, what if they let us transfer 2 of ours to our kids? Well, we've tried that on other cruise lines before, and you know, the included things with your packages are non-transferable. Well, we may as well ask. So we went to guest services again, and they said, absolutely. Just tell them at the host stand and they'll apply that credit that way if you would like. And I just thought that was really impressive. There is just something, especially to me, about when you just make things simple, go over and above, that truly helps your experience. Now put a comment below if you've had a really good guest services experience or had an issue that you found was resolved really quickly. We hear so many negative stories in the reviews and sometimes on Facebook and other social media, so I really enjoy hearing success stories. Okay, before I get into the dislikes, I just want to give a few highlights of the ship that I thought were absolutely amazing. Number 1 is the Vines Wine Bar. The reason I love the Vines Wine Bar is it was right by the atrium, so you could hear some of the great music that they had playing, but it also had great views out the window. One of the problems with the Caribbean Princess is there wasn't a lot of outdoor viewing from the inside, especially at the venues. There was an elevated wine list, which I did have to pay the difference between my Premium Plus package, but I was fine with that because they had some very nice options. We even played a card game there one afternoon. It was a great meeting spot for us and our kids, and we really enjoyed it. Also, I want to call out the 2 poolside restaurants. The Salty Dog, which is like a hot dog bar and grill, and Slice, which is the pizza place. These were super amazing options because everything was cooked fresh to order. So when you ordered your hot dog or your burger, whatever it was, you could choose what toppings you wanted on there, and everything was made specific for you. It was hot and fresh, and I like to stay away from the transfer of all the germs that I think happen more so at the buffet. So we utilized this dining option for lunch many of the days and appreciated it. The pizza was amazing. When the lines were longer, and even when they were shorter, they would take your order and give you a pager, so you didn't have to stand right there and wait for your order. So speaking of service, that takes me to the cafe coffee bar. This place was awesome. It's where you got your specialty coffees, but also they had 24-hour food available for breakfast. They had pastries, but they had some egg bites and egg sandwiches and some interesting things. At lunch, they had different sandwiches with, you know, tuna salad, different salads, different buns, all different options. And again, it was something where they made it in the back, they brought it out to you, so it was fresh to order. It was a nice way for like a quick snack in the afternoon, or even if you just wanted a light lunch. My last highlighted spot on the ship that was one of my favorites is the aft pool area. This area was amazing, except for the fact that because it's covered and it's on the back of the ship, depending on which direction the ship is going in, it was often quite shady. So we didn't spend too much time there, but on embarkation day, we got a great lounger in the front, and every morning we would have coffee out on the edge, watching the water. It was amazing. Okay, now I have to get into my dislike. And so I'm gonna go back and start with the room again. First, what we hated, the bathroom smelled really bad. Really mildewy, and it never went away. So I don't know what the issue was, but it smelled really bad. Also, the toilet had a black circle in it that never washed away. It was just kind of gross. I mean, it's not that big of a deal because it's inside of a toilet, but I'm just saying, it was kind of like, we weren't used to that. And also in the room, it is the tiniest shower I think we've ever experienced on a cruise ship. And I'm pretty sure it was even smaller than our camper shower. That's how small it was. It was tiny. It was so tiny. For me to shave my legs, I had to stick my leg out of the shower onto the toilet. And I'm little, I'm 5'1", and if you have any type of height or size, I don't know how you're getting clean in that shower, just saying. Another dislike is the app. It is not user-friendly. If you're used to having everything at your fingertips on the app, this is not the ship that it's going to happen. So first, you couldn't see what venues were open. If you wanted to know what was open for lunch, what time the venues opened for lunch, you weren't gonna find it on your app. You had to have the sheet that they put in your cabin with you. Also, you couldn't make reservations on the app. So if you were gonna dine at a specialty restaurant or one of the upgraded casual restaurants or in the main dining room, which I found out later, that was an option, you couldn't do it on the app. You had to go to the venue or probably call to do that. And just with today's technology, it surprised me that their app did not have these capabilities. Okay, pools. We talked about pools before, that they're big and there's a lot of them, but something that we didn't enjoy is the main pool had blaring DJ music. I mean, I'm telling you, it is the loudest music ever, and it's honestly didn't make sense to me considering the age group that was there. I get it, like sometimes you should have a party atmosphere and sometimes people are on a cruise for that and there should be balance, but it was constant. So the last day I didn't even want to be at the pool anymore because it just was too much. But if that's your jam, I mean, trust me, you'll get that party vibe there if that's what you're looking for. However, that ship in general isn't the party vibe, so I wouldn't recommend it because that's the only area that you might be able to partay. Okay, next, what I didn't like. So Princess says now they have anytime dining, which we were grateful to hear. We don't necessarily like the time dining just because things change in your day and all of a sudden you don't want to dine at that time. We appreciated having the anytime dining, but learned that you need to make a reservation. When we would walk up, we would get a pager, and one of the days it took well over an hour to get a seat. So it was really hard to gauge when to walk up, and knowing how long the wait was gonna be. I just feel like they don't get how to do the anytime thing because they're still in the mode of the time dining, and hopefully they'll figure that out soon. But we're just used to that on all the other cruise lines, so it was very odd how it was executed on this particular ship. Speaking of dining, let's talk about the wine list. The wines included on Princess Plus, because that's primarily what I like to drink in the evening. They didn't call out brands. It was just Merlot, Pinot Grigio, Cabernet. And I had to keep asking what the brands were to see if it was something that I liked, because they didn't want to order it and take a sip and like, oh no, I don't like this, and then just keep wasting it. But I could tell it was annoying to them, and I just didn't understand why they didn't have brands. But otherwise, I kept ordering from, I think it's Princess Premier side, where you pay the difference. And I didn't mind doing that, but it would have been nice to have a few better options that are included with Princess Plus. Okay, specialty coffee. We didn't like it. It was okay. It was better than the buffet coffee. It was better than the free coffee. But of every cruise line we've ever sailed, this was our least favorite. It's Lavazza coffee. So if you like Lavazza, you're probably gonna love it. But I'm just saying, all the other cruise lines are better, and this one just was not great. Okay, next dislike is Plank's Restaurant. Everybody on our Facebook group page on the ship was saying how great it was. We just weren't fans. It was okay. I'm pretty sure the meat was decent. The sides were just average. Nobody really liked them of our group. And there was 4 of us. So it's not like just one person thought it wasn't that great. Everybody just thought it was okay. But it didn't, we are grateful that we didn't have to extra pay because it was included in our Princess Plus, but I don't know. It just didn't do anything. It wasn't special. It was okay to try because it was included, but I wouldn't recommend doing it if you have to pay out of pocket. Okay, now I have to show you the very best venue on the ship, and this is why it was a disappointment, was because it was always closed for private parties. Always. And I ran into other people and were like, oh, let's go check out if it's open. It's on the aft of the ship. There was great views, tall windows. It was an expansive venue. And like I said, there weren't a lot of venues on the ship that you could get good views. But we ran into some other people because it was blocked off, and these 2 gentlemen, and they're like, it's always closed. Every time we come here, it's closed. And they're like, it's the best venue on the ship. And I'm like, yeah, we love this one too. So I did. One night, my husband and I came. It was like 8 p.m. to go check it out. It was just empty. No activity scheduled, no music. That was disappointing. I mean, I made my own fun. I even put on our Facebook page, hey, everybody come down. And they're like, why? What's there? Nothing. Me. Us. Let's make our own party. It didn't really happen. Whatever. I've never really been a good party coordinator. Side note. It was just okay. Would I compare it to Celebrity? No. Not even close. But we did go on a newer Celebrity ship, so we are going on an older one in a couple months, so I can't wait to report back. But if you've been on the Caribbean Princess, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I met several people that were on numerous times. They love the Caribbean Princess specifically of the entire fleet, and they keep going on it. I don't really get that. Well, thank you so much for watching. Happy cruising.